Hi guys, and a warm welcome back to the channel from an autumnal Spain. You're probably looking at me thinking autumnal if you're in the UK, or even if you're in Florida at the moment with the hurricane they're having. But yeah, it is slightly cooling down. It's not, you can see I'm still in a t-shirt, and it's, what time is it? 20 to 6 in the evening. So yeah, warm welcome back. I'm off down to have a ride on the Voge, and it's something I really enjoy this time of night as the sun's going down a little bit and dappling over all the trees and the colours and the mountain ranges. First of all, I'd like to give a big shout out to a guy called James Walton, who successfully updated his bike and a mate of his bike to the 4.4 update. Now, it's not without its issues trying to do this, and you'll see if you have a look on his video that he struggled just as much as I did. And I realise now, same as in his video, that I probably did put 8/8 in the password, and I've updated that on the original video stating that. But to get that Wi-Fi connection, the hotspot connection, to pop up, it is a bit of a pig of a thing. Another thing on James's video, you'll notice at the end, on my video I said that probably the best bet would be at the end to get your bike running. Now on 4.1 on my bike, on the early editions, if you didn't have the bike running at the end, it would turn off. On his, he was on a later edition, so, and his mates was on a later edition, so that kept the ignition on while they did the update. But if you're on an early edition like the 4.1, I'd advise that you have the engine running during the update. Now, when you get to the end of the update, like James did and I did, and lots of other people have done, you'll get a black screen. And apparently now I've found out that's quite normal. It's the system rebooting itself and getting everything rejigged. So it's resetting your fuel consumption, it's resetting the date, the time back to a 0 set. So you have to go into the settings and reset all that, guys. You need to reset your fuel consumption in your trip to get your fuel consumption working okay after you do that. But what I'd advise is, if you do it, have your motorcycle running at the end, and instead of using the kill switch, once the update is complete, the engine's running and the screen goes black, you know the bike's still working because the engine's running. Hit the keyless ignition switch, not the kill switch, turn the bike off, restart it, and usually by the second time of restarting and starting the engine, the system will have updated, so you're good to go. Things in the news from the UK, not so much here in Spain. I've talked about this before. Here in Spain, we've got a Voge network. If you guys go on the internet and you look on, or you search on Google for Voge España, you can even put Voge Spain and it'll still come up. You'll come up with a dedicated Voge website, which gives all their bikes that they manufacture and list here in Spain. And you'll find that in a lot of countries a dedicated Voge website, and that's because they have headquarters in these countries and they manage their concessionaries that sell the bikes for them. So you'll find that Voge in Spain, in Portugal, France, all have main offices, and they'll have dedicated showrooms, all Voge badged. The staff will have Voge kit on, etc, etc. Now, the advantage of that is that, like I've spoke to you in videos, previous videos, you've got a bit of sense of the bike is part of a group that's well established, and it is well established here in Spain. If you look on their webpage, you'll see, I think there's something like 23 different bikes and scooters they sell here in Spain, and it gives you a lot more detail than sort of MotoGP or other countries. Australia, if you go there, it's sold out, it's handled by a reseller in Australia, and they have 2 or 3 bikes, that's all. The UK, I know they've got the Rally 300, I know they've got the 525, I know they've had the 500 DS in the UK before, and now the Voge 900 DSX. But you guys in the UK, I wouldn't panic by buying it from MotoGP. They're going to honour all their obligations, I'm sure. You're still going to get your guarantee, and I would imagine in time, I don't know how it's going to work, especially with this thing with completely motorcycles. One of the garages where I used to live in Abergele, North Wales, used to be called Woods. That was taken over by Completely, and I've seen a lot of scare stories. I don't know what the latest update is with Completely, whether they've opened their showrooms again. Some, I believe, the Abergele showroom and the Chester showroom of Triumph have now been taken over pretty quickly. Whether that's the original company had it before they went into the franchise with completely, I don't know, but there is some movement happening. It's going to be a scary time for all of you who've got bikes in who are in for servicing and the gates are still shut, but update me guys, because I'm over here in Spain and I'm just reading the news like you are. If there's any news on what's happening with the other garages where bikes have been had a deposit down and people have paid for bikes and not received them, let me know in the comments if you're getting your bike and things have sorted themselves out. So yeah guys, this is our other house. I've been down there a few times and it's an old farmhouse I originally bought when we moved to Spain. I'm going back 18 years ago now, and I ran a construction company, a commercial construction company in the UK, and we bought this house in the middle of the mountains. And where we are now, where we're looking around, obviously we've got Starlink with Elon Musk now, so we have fast internet. But when we moved over 18 years ago, you couldn't even get 3G in where we live. We call it the Campo, which means countryside in Spain. And this was the initial house I bought behind me. It's a 5-bedroom farmhouse, and it's the section you can see in the front and the section over the left hand side there. It may appear right on this screen. I don't know if it's going to reverse it or not. But beautiful tranquil spot, and we've got 2.5 acres of land and the other house I built up on the hill. So yeah guys, as I mentioned in a previous video, we're still going to push ahead now. Now we're out of COVID. Now my wife's illness is we're through the other side, let's put it that way, and she's in remission with her treatment. So we're going to carry on with the original idea of opening this back up. We did have it on Airbnb. There's still a bit of work to do, but it's a beautiful, beautiful spot. So we're going to open this back up and start doing these touring holidays. And I was going to do a video and put a bit of a survey up to ask you guys what you really thought about riding bikes. Now, we could go out and get bikes that are easy to ride, like the MT450. We could order a few of them. Or for the sake of dropping bikes in the Campo and on trails and the risk of dropping them and having damage on them, we could go out and get some older Hondas or some older Teneres. The Honda Dominator or the Tenere 660 seems a pretty good bike to have. It's easy to maintain, easy to ride, and these mountain routes around here are some of them are demanding, but the rest of them are pretty much fire trails and easy to ride. But some great rides around this area. Yeah, so I've waffled on with that a bit too long. I mean, I will do a video and ask you guys what you think about the idea. If you want to come out here, fly over, we can do a shuttle service from the airport. We can take 3 or 4 of you guys out. There's enough accommodations, 5 double bedrooms in this place, 2 bathrooms, would be self-catering, but all the breakfasts and lunches would be included in the price. And we can do a 3-5 day tour around this beautiful part of Spain, up in the mountains and inland as well, and show you what the real Spain's really like, and hopefully make some new friends along the way. So that's another topic for another video. But what I'll do now, I'll get suited and booted, put the camera on the helmet, and we'll have a tootle around and maybe catch and chat later on in the video. So guys, let's do this. Let's go on a lovely late afternoon ride. Whoa, the sun's bright. Yeah guys, so one of the things I did the other day to this, I bought a new pair of riding boots, and I was having trouble getting under the gear lever, and also I was finding coming up to junctions the brake lever was a bit low down on the rear foot brake. And what I was tending to do then, I've mentioned this in other videos, I was using the front brake a bit more than I should do, especially with the pillion, which on a heavy bike like this with a long travel suspension you don't want to be doing, because you get a lurch at stop then on the front end. So I adjusted both of them. I adjusted the gear lever up by about 15 mil. You just loosen the 2 lock nuts top and bottom, and then just wind it into where you want it and retighten them back up, and that's made a massive difference on the gear change. Really easy to get my boot under. And I've done the same on the foot brake, which has made a big difference as well. In one of my previous videos when I was off-roading on this, I mentioned that when you stood up the front the rear brake, I should say, under your right foot was a bit too low and a bit awkward to get onto. It's a lot better now if you're going over anything shaly and you need to stand up. Yeah, so in general, life is good. I'm not working tomorrow, so we're going to get out for a ride and meet a couple of friends. One of them is on a Royal Enfield and the other one is on a Triumph 900, I believe. And we're going to have what's called, well, it's brunch in the UK, so around 10 o'clock it's called Almuerzo here in Spain. So you have various times you eat in Spain, and they all consist of quite a time eating and enjoying yourself. So desayuno in the morning is breakfast, almuerzo is usually about 10 or 11, comida is usually lunch, starts around 1 and can go until about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Merida is tea time or a mid-afternoon snack, and then obviously dinner, cenar, whatever time you want to sit down and have your late meal. Can often be quite later in Spain. They eat at some silly hours, especially in the summer. Yeah, so the place we're going to tomorrow, guys, and I was briefly talking before about these adventure holidays. There's some great places to stop and have food, and one of them we often stop when I take my wife Pillion on the back. We stop and have almuerzo, which is brunch if you like, and I generally have a couple of sausages, a couple of eggs and potatoes they do here, which are, it would be something similar to American hash browns or along them lines, but they are potatoes. They're cooked very slowly in olive oil and they have vinegar and garlic in them, and they're called patatas allo pobre, or potatoes of the poor. And bread, and I usually have an alcohol-free beer. My wife normally has a French omelette, which is just a normal cheese omelette, but they call them a tortilla française here, which is French omelette. And she'll have bread and maybe a coffee, orange juice. And the crazy thing is, when we ask for the bill at the end of it, it's usually around €9, which is maybe about £7 sterling in the UK. And to be honest, I can't move. I'm struggling to get back on the bike and ride off, but absolutely balmy prices. Give you a bit of culture and insight to where I am. I'm in Murcia, which is south of the Alicante region and north of the Almeria region, and it's a beautiful region, not overly well known. A lot of people probably know La Manga, or the La Manga Strip, which is by the Mar Menor, which is an inland sea which is cut off from the main sea. And the La Manga Strip is where all the international footballers go to train and play during the winter. We have about 320 days of sunshine here in Murcia a year, so 40 odd days where it's cloudy and maybe raining. Maybe is a big if. But yeah, lunchtime, if we're doing these tours and we stop at lunch, what you can expect at lunchtime is a pretty heavy meal, especially if you're out motorcycling, but it's the main meal of the day here in Spain, comida. The other meals tend to be lesser meals, but the main meal tends to comprise of a drink included, so a beer, a wine, coffee if you want coffee. Then normally a big central salad, a mixed salad. You'll have a starter that can be anything from a soup to gazpacho. It can be a pasta dish. Then you'll have a main course, which can be lamb, chicken, pork with potatoes and a little bit of green stuff, not a lot. They just tend to do a meat and a potato dish. Then you can have a sweet. There's various puddings and sweets that you can have. You also get bread included, and you also get a coffee at the end of it. And there you're looking inland here around €13, €13.50 for that, which is about €11 in the UK for a 4-course lunch with a drink and a coffee. Again, crazy prices. A lot of guys here who work generally in all sorts of types of work generally don't take a lunch out with them. They all go for midday lunch. And lunch, if you're working in Spain here, depending on what type of work you do, generally consists from about 1 o'clock till 3:30 minimum. So people start working in the construction industry that I'm in. I always work English hours, and the lads that work for me work English hours. So we start at 8 in the morning. We have a 10 o'clock break, 15-minute break, maybe half an hour break at 10 o'clock. Then we stop at 1 for an half-hour break, and then generally finish around 4. Spanish start around 8. They stop at 1 o'clock. They don't start again then till maybe 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and they work till 7 or 8 at night. We still get paid an 8-hour day, which is it's the way it is, but it's pretty crazy. I mean, the powers that be have tried to change it so families get more time to spend with their parents and more family time, but the tradition persists. I can understand it in the summer months when it's stonking hot. What we tend to do in the summer, we'll start earlier and finish earlier because of the heat. But yeah, life is generally good here in Spain. Things for people who've got holiday homes here have changed a bit since Brexit. They can it's always been the case that you could do 90 days and then you had to go out of the country and come back in, but prior to Brexit everybody turned a blind eye, including the Spanish authorities, and most people lived here pretty much all year round, not on a residency or a permanent basis, but as a British taxpayer, if you like, living here in Spain under the radar. Since Brexit, it's the 90-day rule, I should say, so you can do 3 months here in Spain, then you have to go out for 3 months, and then you can come back in for 3 months, and it's upset a lot of people and messed a lot of people around. Residency is very, very difficult to get now because you have to jump through hoops, or you have to have sufficient income and different things to guarantee that you can survive, etc. Pretty much like coming into the UK from other countries. There are restrictions on coming in and coming out. But for those of us who've been here a long time and we're residents, we've got residency in Spain, life is generally good. Prices have gone up like everywhere else in Europe, but generally I would say that it's still a lot cheaper to live here than it is in the UK, for instance. Generally, if you go out and you have a litre of beer, which is it's 2 pints basically in a litre, or is it 2 pints? I'm not quite sure. 500 millilitres, no, it's just under 2 pints. 560 millilitres I believe is a pint, or thereabouts. So a litre of beer, if you go out and you're in a bar, it'll cost you around €2.50 for a litre of beer, and it's 5% strong European beer, as opposed to whatever a pint costs in the UK now. I couldn't really tell you, it's a while since I've been back. The last time I went back to visit my mum, she was living in Folkestone. I had a pint of IPA and my wife had a glass of Rioja, and I think the guy said that'll be £12, sir, and I just burst out laughing. I thought he was having a bit of a laugh, and he said no, that's the price, that's how much it is. Well, the same 2 drinks here would probably cost you about €4, so which is about £3.50, £3.20. So life is different here. Life is it's more laid back, and it's more enjoyable on the whole, I would say. Once you adapt to slowing down a little bit and embracing the life, it's very, very good. Motorcycling is amazing here, guys. I really do mean amazing. You can ride all year round through the winter, up in the mountains where I am, and I'm driving around now. In the winter it does get a bit cooler up here than on the coast. It can get down to around 13 degrees during the day, 14 degrees during the day. But often when you get 13 or 14 degrees, if the sun's on you, the sun's quite warm here in Spain, you're further south, and providing you've got riding gear on, it's just a nice time of year for me to get out and ride. It's really enjoyable. Get your riding pants on, your boots on, a jacket, and you're good to go. But yeah, January and February it does cool down a little bit, but then it bounces back and we're back to the heat again. So all in all, 365 days of riding. So you see massive figures on bikes in Spain where people cover large mileages a year. I generally ride for enjoyment, but I do use my bikes an awful lot if I'm going shopping or I'm nipping to a nearby village. I'd much prefer to take a bike than take a car, and if I can get everything I want in the panniers and the top box, that's what I tend to do. But obviously I've got a van for work, and my wife has a car, and we've got 4 bikes. We've got the Voge, we've got the Super Meter 650. I've got a Moto Guzzi California 3, and I've got an old Ducati 350 Scrambler from the 70s. So I have got a bit of a choice if I want to get out and about, but my go-to bike if we're going anywhere on a journey is the Voge. It's a superb bike, especially with the recent updates. Anyway guys, keep me posted on completely motorcycles in the UK. If you've got any information, it'd be interesting to hear over here. Although I can get motorcycle news and the news magazines online, motorcycle news and etc. Must be a frustrating time for you guys in the UK if you're buying bikes. I think the sales figures for all bikes in Spain year on year are up 20%. Last time I looked in the UK it was pretty level, so it was around 1% or 0. It hadn't really gone up and down year on year. Yeah, this Voge 900 here, I've just seen the figures for September sales in Spain, and roughly 700 bikes sold in September. On the charts, it was by far the biggest seller in the over 400cc category out of any other bike. I think BMW came in somewhere around the 300 in the month, and other bikes were around 300, 200, so 700 is quite a lot for a monthly sale figure. One word of note before I do sign off and leave you. I've been on the Voge España website, and you can check it out yourselves. The price of this particular bike now has shot up for next year, so the 2025 model, no more models available now. You can't pre-order. The next one's coming in now February 2025 here in Spain. I think MotoGP must have a batch of bikes they've got already in for sale. I don't know how long it'll be if they're ordering new bikes in, considering we're going to wait till February for new bikes coming into the country. New bikes coming into Spain now have shot up by, I think it's about €400, and the luggage is still being offered. Very different from the UK guys. Our bikes are separate with an offer on the luggage. The luggage is worth about €1,600 and it's being offered for €898. The bike now is shot up to €9,200, so the overall price now is well over 10,000, 10,300 maybe on the road, 10,400 on the road I would think, but that's in euros, don't forget. If you convert that back to pounds, it's still going to be cheaper than the 10 grand price you've got plus on the road costs. But I would imagine the same is going to happen throughout Europe and in the UK, so if you're still on the fence in the UK and you can still get them on the price that MotoGP are offering, I'd snaffle one up with the cases, guys, unless you obviously want to put Givy or Chad cases on. That's a different kettle of fish. Oh, dog dead on the road there. Yeah, so yeah, I would snap them up, guys, if they're still offering a MotoGP in the UK. Get one if you can get one. And as I predicted, the prices will go up considerably. I think they'll go up by yearly, so I think the February's bikes will go up here now. I would imagine by the fall, that's the September, October of 2025 here, I would imagine they're going to go up again, judging on the amount of volume they're selling throughout Europe. So guys, bit of a waffly video, touched on a few news subjects, touched on a few things about the bike, touched on a few personal things happening in my life. If you like the video or you want to follow me, subscribe, give me a thumbs up, give me a like, and for all of you guys who are making comments, and certainly ones that are mentioning me in their videos, I want to give you a big shout out, guys, and say I'm really, really grateful. We all act as a community, we're all biker brothers and sisters, we all stick together, and obviously we all help each other by giving out information and updates and whatever we find out about the bike. So we are still beta testers on this bike. There's a vast amount of them out there in the wild now. I've not heard one single recall or one bad thing about this bike. I've had 7 months of amazing use with this bike. I've had some frustrations with the throttle and a few things, but since the 4.4 update I'm bobbling along in 5th gear now. I'm only doing 3,000. When I was chatting away to you guys before, I was actually in 6, so I short shifted up into 6th gear and it was just bobbling along at 2,500 revs. Wouldn't have done that before. Anyway guys, I'm going to sign off. Take care, have fun with the bikes, ride safe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out, guys.